Discrimination and racism have tragically been some of the most persistent and life-altering forces for many people of color, especially Black people. Most of them have been denied opportunities to education, employment, and housing due to the color of their skin. Others have endured the harsh blows of racial abuse, enduring both physical and emotional pain. And would you believe it if we told you that there is a country that still allows racism to persist shamelessly whenever they celebrate a national holiday? From systemic racism to discriminatory practices against Africans, we'll be uncovering the sad reality of how blackface continues to feature in the Dutch Christmas celebration. Join us in this eye-opening exploration as we delve deeply into the enduring racial stereotypes and injustices that blackface continues to impose on Africans in today's world. Blackface is a form of theatrical makeup that has been used to portray characters of African descent, typically in a negative or stereotypical way. The practice began in the United States in the 19th century and was often used in minstrel shows, which were popular forms of entertainment for white supremacists at that time. The minstrel shows of the 19th century, like Mammy, Mandingo, and Uncle Tom, depicted African Americans in a highly offensive, buffoonish, and demeaning way. In these shows, white actors would dress in costumes meant to resemble African Americans, with exaggerated features such as large red lips and white eyes, and would perform racist caricatures. While the majority of minstrel shows were performed by white actors in blackface, there were cases of some African American performers were made to participate in the show. However, early blackface minstrel shows were mostly performed by all-male companies, with actors playing both male and female roles. However, the shows perpetrate harmful stereotypes and negative portrayals of African Americans, portraying them as lazy, ignorant, dumb, and subservient. These shows reinforced and validated various racist beliefs that had a deeply negative impact on the way African Americans were perceived and treated in society, even to this day. While minstrel shows had largely disappeared from the American stage by the mid-20th century, they lived on in other forms. One example is the Dutch celebration of Sinterklaas. The Dutch figure Sinterklaas, also known as Saint Nicholas, is based on the historical figure Saint Nicholas of Myra. Saint Nicholas, a 4th-century bishop in what is now Turkey, earned fame for his boundless generosity and exceptional kindness, especially towards children. After his death, he was canonized as a saint, and December 6th, his feast day, became a beloved holiday celebrated in many parts of Europe. The legend of Sinterklaas finds its roots in the story of Saint Nicholas, and this character has grown to be a significant part of Dutch culture and traditions. The celebration of Sinterklaas has a long history in the Netherlands, with its origins dating back to the 14th century. The feast is a holiday in the Netherlands and is commonly celebrated on the 5th of December in Netherlands and the 6th of December in Belgium. Over the centuries, it evolved into a celebration that included gift-giving, songs, and special foods. Today, the Feast of Sinterklaas is an important part of Dutch culture and is celebrated all over the country. The Netherlands celebrate the Feast of Sinterklaas for several reasons. First, it's a way of paying tribute to St. Nicholas and his legacy of being kind and generous. Beyond that, it serves as a wonderful reminder to unite families and communities during the chilly winter months. This festivity is also a vital aspect of Dutch heritage, with many of its cherished traditions being passed down through the generations. For children, it's an incredibly exciting time, filled with anticipation as they eagerly await gifts from Sinterklaas. While the holiday is a delightful occasion for the Netherlands, there's an uncomfortable and controversial aspect, particularly for Black people, related to the character of Black Pete, also known as Zwart Piet. Black Pete is a figure from Dutch folklore, typically portrayed as a white person in blackface. He serves as a companion to Sinterklaas and is often depicted as his helper. Sinterklaas arrives in November of every year in the Netherlands, and it's an event that's highly anticipated by children and adults alike. The steamboat carrying Sinterklaas and his Black Pete's arrive in every city in Holland to cheering crowds marking the beginning of the festive season. Afterwards, they choose one city in the Netherlands to visit. This special visit is promoted on national television, and lots of excited kids and adults gather to see Sinterklaas. Children also have a special news channel dedicated to Sinterklaas and Black Pete. This channel airs every night, providing young viewers with content to watch during the holidays. Some wave banners and cheers, while others dress up in Black Pete's or in other festive clothing. Sinterklaas then makes his way across the country, visiting different towns and cities until the night of December 5th, when he finally starts delivering gifts. Sinterklaas stays in his castle with the Black Pete's, and every night he delivers gifts across the country by walking on the roof with his horse, while the Black Pete's enter houses through the chimneys to deliver gifts to people's homes. Black Pete's, who are often seen as fun and playful, distribute sweets and gifts to children who have behaved well throughout the year. However, those who have been naughty are said to receive a less cheerful gift, which is a bundle of birch branches known as a roe. This traditional symbol of punishment in Dutch culture, dating back to the days when it was used as a form of discipline. The character of Black Pete was first introduced in the 18th century by John Schenkman, a Dutch writer and educator. Schenkman wrote a book titled Sint Nicolaas en zijn knecht in Dutch, or Saint Nicholas and his Servant in English. In his book, Schenkman described the saint's visit to Dutch family. The book included illustrations of Sinterklaas and his assistant, who was depicted as a black man with curly hair and soot-covered face. This image of Black Pete became the basis for the character's later representation in popular culture. Another factor that influenced the creation of the character Black Pete was slavery. The tradition of Sinterklaas and his assistant began to take shape in the mid-18th century, when the Netherlands was a major center for the slave trade. At that time, it was common for wealthy families to have servants, and it was not unusual for some of these servants to be of African descent. The figure of Sinterklaas's assistant was adapted from this historical context, and the character became known as Black Pete. Despite the character's intended friendly and benevolent portrayal, it has sparked controversy, with many finding it to be racially insensitive and offensive. While the figure of Black Pete has been criticized by Dutch people of African descent for decades, one of the earliest documented cases was in the 1930s. In 1932, an article was published in the Dutch magazine De Groen. The article exposed the racist origins of the figure and criticized its portrayals in the media. Despite this, it took many more decades for the issue to come to the forefront of public discourse. There have also been numerous protests calling for a change in the way that Black Pete is portrayed, but these efforts have been met with resistance. The protest titled Zwart Piet is Racism began in 2011. With the rise of social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter, images of Black Pete gained exposure to a much broader audience. Renowned celebrities like Trey Songz, The Game, and Kim Kardashian, among others, have expressed their strong displeasure with the character of Black Pete, as they consider it a highly disturbing and racist in every aspect. This sparked a larger debate about the character Black Pete. Dutch people of African descent also spoke out about their negative experiences of being portrayed as a comical caricature, which they said was a form of racism. The protests gained momentum as an increasing number of people rallied to support the movement to eliminate the character. Over time, several major corporations and organizations have also started to voice their opposition to the portrayal of Black Pete. In 2018, McDonald's became the first major fast food chain to ban its employees from dressing up as Black Pete during the holiday season. The company said that this was part of a broader effort to promote diversity and inclusion within its workforce. Similarly, the Dutch police announced that it would no longer allow Black Pete costumes at holiday parties after 2020, citing the importance of inclusivity. In recent years, we've seen another transformation of the Black Pete character through the emergence of Schornstein Piet, or Chimney Pete. Instead of portraying him with dark skin, Shorstein Pete is now depicted as someone covered in soot from the chimneys he navigates while delivering gifts. Chimney Pete is also depicted in vibrant rainbow colors, which is a refreshing departure from the racially insensitive blackface commonly associated with Black Pete. Alongside this change, his attire has received a modern update, showcasing a cleaner look that distances itself from the conventional portrayal of African slaves. These changes signify a major shift in how Black Pete is perceived in the Netherlands. However, as is common with any social movement, there has also been vocal opposition from those resistant to the change. Within the movement to eliminate Black Pete, there have been notable instances of hostility originating from white supremacists who strongly resist the idea of removing this character from popular culture. Some have even organized counter-protests, arguing that Black Pete is an integral part of Dutch tradition, and changing it would be an act of cultural genocide. And it's quite alarming that there have been instances where supporters of Black Pete resorted to physical violence and verbal abuse against those who advocate for the character's removal. Activists have been targeted and subjected to attacks by protesters who stand in support of Black Pete, and some have even received death threats. Despite this resistance, the movement to change the way Black Pete is portrayed continues to grow. For many who are against Black Pete, the matter goes beyond the character alone. It's about confronting racism and discrimination in all their manifestations and striving to build a more equitable society. Protesters have argued that the portrayal of Black Pete reinforces harmful stereotypes and contributes to a culture of discrimination against people of color. They've also pointed out that the controversy around the character highlights the need for more diversity and inclusion in the Netherlands, both in popular culture and in society at large. Many Black Pete opponents have spoken about the significance of advocating for upcoming generations. Their fight for change extends beyond their own rights. It's a commitment to securing the rights of their children and grandchildren. Their aim is to guarantee that future generations won't encounter the same obstacles and discriminations they have endured. And with the resolute dedication of Black individuals and communities worldwide, it is possible to create a world where all people can live free from racism and its harmful consequences.